Hello, and welcome to Comedy Craft, where we discuss the craft of comedy, where we drink craft beers. My name is Haywood Turnipseed Jr. I am your host, and we are coming to you live from the nation's capital of Washington, D.C., from the D.C. Comedy Loft. And this week, our guest we have for us, Mr. Neko White.
Yeah. Brother, I want to thank y'all for having me on this podcast, man. Even though I don't usually drink craft beer, I'm going to go against religion for y'all.
Oh, man, you don't drink craft beer?
Nah, dog, it tastes like soy sauce to me. But because you guys were gracious enough to ask me to be on, I would do anything. I'm a cigar smoker, so I'm going to try to act like I know what I'm talking about.
Oh, that's
beer.
what it is.
Even though my palate is probably destroyed by it. All I taste is creosote and firewood.
Neko is headlining this weekend at the Comedy Loft.
Yeah.
He's taking over the reins on Sunday. He's taking them over from Sean Williams, who actually headlined 2 shows. Neko was in town, and he did 7 shows while he was in town.
Yeah,
rocking
man.
out from Harlem, USA.
Yes.
Well, I was just in Harlem for the Harlem Comedy Festival, so I got a small taste of what that small section of New York has to offer.
Let me tell you something. I'm sure you got a taste, but you ain't get to see it all, man.
I know, right? I
know. But hey, let me pay DC a compliment real quick. I've been here for 2 nights already, and honestly, I haven't seen one ugly woman the whole time. Now I'm sure they're here, but I've been able to avoid 100% of them, dog. Like I went to go get food. What's the name of that spot? Bus Boys and Poets.
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
I literally sat there like, I don't ever got to go back to Harlem. Like if I make enough on the road, you know what I mean, to pay the bills, and I can do it. I'm gonna have to learn to drive while I'm out here, but I can do it.
And you here do a homecoming weekend. You do a Howard homecoming weekend, so you came
one of my
real
friends,
good time.
One of my friends, she was at the reunion. I texted her while I was in Poets or whatever. I was like, honestly, like, thank you and your school for bringing them out like this, because it's insane. And to boot, y'all have an amazing comedy scene out here that's very welcoming. So kudos to y'all. Thank you for having me, man. I'm honored.
Oh, that's right. That's what's up, man. Thank you. Thank you for hanging out and saying all those good things about the city of D.C. People don't always talk nicely about D.C. They be like, them folks in Washington. They be like, hey, there's people here who actually live here, work here, and hang out. And
now y'all cool as hell. Your weed laws are sketchy, to say the least, though. My God.
Well, no. I got to push back on that. I was in Harlem, and I couldn't find and walk around and smoke.
No, I was so afraid to walk around smoke. I was getting so many different types of advice. Some people were like, it's illegal. The other people were like, yeah, it's legal, but you can't smoke. You can't smoke on the street.
Well,
but they just won't bother you. And I was like, my little out of town ass, they'll see it in my face.
That's the same.
They'll do it just to fuck with me.
That's the same thing I said in New York. I was like, well, I can't be hanging out right here.
Yeah, no, New York, they'll choke you out.
And I was like, no.
Yeah, you would definitely be a hashtag, 100%.
Yeah, see, I'm not trying to be a T-shirt. Not in
one of the wax T-shirts where, like, if you rob it more than 2 times, you disappear, so it's like you died again.
You know what I mean? Like Haywood Turnipseed Jr., it'd be like some wings and shit in the background. It'd be like on a cloud with my face.
And on a picture that you would never add to your timeline in real life.
You know, the worst Facebook photo that they could find. Not even one of my clean headshots. Now, Neko's headliner, but he has the credits to back this up, because Neko has been on TruTV's Laff Tracks. Yeah. He's been on Kevin Hart's LOL Network. He's been on Gotham Live, Fox Labs, CISO's New York Funniest. He actually won the comedy competition at Caroline's March Madness, which is big. Yeah. As a comic, I know about that event. He's been in Montreal, New Faces, Just for Laughs. So, this man is doing it, and he is a host of Roast Battle in New York City, if I'm not mistaken, at the New York Comedy Club.
Yes, sir.
So this man here is doing it. Let's give Neko his props.
Let's
thank Neko for being here tonight and carving out some time for us on this podcast where we drink beers and we talk comedy. So I want to explain to the people who have not listened to this show before exactly what this show is all about. I say showcase because we just got off shows. And
all good.
It's like happy hour after work, but we actually have a cool happy hour.
Hey, man, let me tell y'all something. If y'all never listened to this, Haywood and everybody here puts on a great production. So they shouldn't have to explain it to you anymore, and they've already explained it to you. If you ain't listening, you're listening wrong. Listen to this podcast. How often does it come out?
Every 3rd and every 20th. I'm glad you said said that.
Well,
every
listen
third
to it
and
every
20th.
third and every 20th.
Hey.
It's the same way you would pick up your check.
Look at that. It's a Mad Scientist Media production.
Your laugh would scare me. Like if somebody just recorded that shit and played it in a haunted house, because you sound like a nigga that would take everybody for a ride for their money. Like your GoFundMe's always fill up.
Oh yeah. Not only that, Haywood is actually a ringtone.
Yeah, I do have a ringtone.
Yeah.
Yeah.
We talked about this last time, but Haywood, we actually
Hold
found
on, wait. Don't just act like that didn't just happen.
Oh yeah.
Like you didn't just walk up and say this nigga has a ringtone in 2019, and I'm supposed to just go forward with this information. Like I didn't just hear you say somebody has a ringtone.
Oh yeah.
Okay, so where can I buy this on Boost Mobile? I-8
You guys should
2004. Will this ring when you chirp me? Where you at?
Ring, ring.
Well, no, for real. But tell me more.
Ring, ring, ring.
No, you can download it off the App Store. He's got it hanging out on the App Store. You can get his laugh as your ringtone and a
But
bunch
how
of people.
do you find it?
Visit HaywoodTurnipseedJr.com.
There you go.
And you can actually go ahead and download that if you like it. And there's a couple of jokes over there. I got to put some more current jokes. There's some dated jokes on there. But this show ain't about me. It's about craft beers, and it's about the craft of
Well,
comedy.
let's get to the craft beer.
I just happen to be a host, but I'm not the only host. Let's welcome our server, Shells.
Hey guys, how we doing tonight?
Pretty good.
That's awesome.
What's going on, Shells? How you been?
I'm wonderful.
Yeah?
You know, excited to get you guys these beers.
What do you have for us tonight for our first craft beer of the evening?
Let me get it to you first. Let me get it to you.
Let's get it. You ain't got to. Well, look, we on the
I
we on the
think
main
you should.
stage tonight. So Shells is stepping up.
You gotta step
onto the
up.
main stage. You guys, what you guys don't know, well, folks who can't see it, we've been doing this show sometimes downstairs in the comedy room. Tonight we're upstairs in the comedy room. We've been at the bar. We've had our friends out here: Trevor Wallace, Faison Love, Matthew Broussard, and the Sklar brothers.
Matt Broussard?
Yeah.
Good dude.
Yeah,
good dude.
right? Funny cat, man.
Real funny cat.
So we were talking to him about, drinking beers and craft of comedy. And Shells was handing us these first beers of the evening.
Don't tell me she fell.
Nah,
Oh,
Shells
okay.
didn't.
No, me. I'm right here. I didn't fall.
Oh, okay. Just making sure. Because he said, like, yo, she a trooper, man.
But she takes into account the fact that we, so someone like yourself who doesn't drink craft beers that often, she takes that into account. So what's the first one you have for us to wet this palate?
The first one tonight is the Vossen Everything Floats on Key Lime. That face, though.
That's what it's called?
Yes.
Everything floats on key
Everything
lime.
floats on Key Lime.
Like pie?
Like pie.
Oh, y'all are wild as hell.
It has an ABV of 7.5. It is a fruited sour IPA with generous amounts of key lime.
Generous amounts of trash. What? Yo, who people pay for this shit? Yo, y'all have crafted poison. This shit is top-notch peasantry. Who drinks this? Yo,
Believe it or
Boston
not,
Key
a
Lime
lot
will be a
of
sponsor
people.
of this show anytime.
are they really? Hey,
Not
look,
tonight,
man.
they're not.
Look, man. First of all, just let me say, I'm a comedian. I am not a beer connoisseur. To the beer
No,
connoisseurs.
say how you feel, because you get
Oh
to
no,
name
I'm
these
gonna
beers.
tell them straight up how I
have to
feel.
name it.
Yeah.
This shit is name it.
Like,
You
that
have
might
to
be the
name
name.
it.
This shit is trash.
I got you right now. Yellow garbage is what I named this drink.
Yellow garbage.
A good sip of yellow garbage. This is trash.
This would pair with a nice falafel.
This would pair with a nice trash can. But no, honestly, if I'm gonna do the whole thing that I learned from like watching people sample whiskey on YouTube, so
Yeah.
hold on.
Yeah.
Do the nose. It smells like when people like grind up good weed. It smells like that. In a cup.
I got you.
Now for the taste. Trash.
Yellow garbage.
Yep, yellow garbage. It tastes like yellow Triminic. You remember Triminic, the cough medicine?
Yeah.
You remember that? Like this
I
shit
do.
could
I
clear
have,
a cold.
I have to drink a bottle a week with a voice like this.
Yeah. Whoo. Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, this is why I prefer bourbon, but yeah. You know what? If I had a cigar, I would actually have this, because something that tastes this bad to my palate would go really good with a cigar. Wanna know why?
Okay.
The aftertaste is a bit of a sizzle at the back of the palate.
Yeah.
And stuff like that. It's kind of like when you have ginger with sushi. Cleanses the palate really well. So even though I don't like it, you know, if you wanna delete what you previously tasted, you know, pure garbage is available for you. What would you name it?
I'm dying.
Everybody looking at me like I'm crazy.
No, it's hilarious. I mean, that is hilarious right there.
I wouldn't give this to a thirsty person.
Every show ain't good. Every joke ain't good.
Mm-hmm.
So as we talk about yellow garbage, talk to us about some of your worst times.
Okay,
so talk to us about because like what you said.
Yeah.
This might help us delete our palate, right?
No, don't worry.
Our worst time.
This definitely brings me
some of our best time.
It brings me to sad memories in my life. My worst time doing comedy, honestly. Like, even my bad times in comedy, when I look back on them, weren't that bad. You think about it, I was 14 doing stand-up in New York City,
14.
Paying my bills off of doing it at 16.
Yeah.
I've never worked a standard job outside of being a stand-up comedian, so I support myself and my family. So, having said that, I can't really complain. But I would say the worst times I had was when my grandma passed away, because my mom had did the most gangster shit I ever seen anybody do. She dropped everything to take care of her mother as she got older. And we did that for 12 years. So when grandma passed, you know, that was a big, like, punch to everybody. You know what I'm saying? Because it was a giant constant. It's one of those things, as they get older, you think it'll never happen, but you know that it's only inevitable. But when it happened, just to see everybody have to grow up, in a sense, kind of see my mom have to be the person that had to figure out what to do, you know, with her mother. It was really eye-opening and scary, because, you know, they did the rent something crazy. But thankfully it was telling jokes, and we, you know, been able to pay the bills. So God is good, life is good, but this beer is trash.
So you started at 14, and you've only been doing stand-up comedy, and have made a career of it.
Yes, sir.
So you've gone straight from you one of those cats that went straight into the league, man. I dig that.
Sure, but there was a lot of training in between that. You know what I'm saying?
Okay.
I'm grateful.
How so?
So I started in school, right? First day of high school. So I'm 14. I go up, and it worked.
Right.
So whatever it was, I got to start in school, and my teacher would let me go up 3 times a week.
Really?
Now, yeah, man. So having said that, I was able to build up some form of confidence before ever going to the open mic circuit.
Okay.
And the open mic circuit in New York City is a cheese grater to the emotions, to say the least.
Yeah.
But being able to start the way I started, and knowing that there were at least some people that liked me, made it easier going back into like the open mic scene in New York.
Yeah.
And then I was always the type of person, if you asked me to go to the store, I would ask you if I could get $1. And I took that type of mentality to telling jokes.
Yeah.
And by the grace of God and, you know, some elbow grease, could be a lot worse, man. I can't currently complain.
Yeah. That's all, man. That's awesome. That's and comedy isn't kind to kids. I know a few people who started at a young age, you know, 14, 15, 16. And I'm like, okay, as an older guy, I always take my time with folks like that. You know, okay, let's talk to these folks, because they know what they want to do. You know what I mean? And sometimes when you see someone who knows what they want to do, that's frightening to someone who kind of figured it out a little bit later in life.
Yeah.
I say that to say, when I see the drive in someone like yourself who's like, you know what, I'm going to drive this where this is going to take me, look at where it has taken you to a craft. So some of those sour notes, some of those sour moments have become like, you know, Montreal, Just Laughs, or being able to host roast battles, taking that cheese grater stuff, taking that raw stuff that happened to you.
To be honest, the biggest part, like when I was starting it, I could say would make me go like, oh, well, that's unfortunate, is that you would get people that were older than me that, oh, you'll only be here for 2 weeks. You'll only be here for 2 weeks. In that time, all of them have quit, and I'm sure their tears taste a whole lot like this yellow garbage.
Oh, comics tears. I like that.
But I was talking to a gentleman earlier today. And because, like you said, the thing about some people starting young, I honestly don't mind you. I'm biased, of course.
Okay.
We can only start the way that we started. We don't know anything else.
Right.
I think I think a lot of times you have people that are older that, they love stand up and everything, and they'll see somebody at that age and they'll be like, oh, well, how long until you to find something else? Or they'll say things like, well, you're that young and you don't have anything to talk about. Yeah. And I always disagree with that. I was never the comic. Yeah.
That's a stand-up mentality. Just disagreeing with that, like, I got you.
Yeah, but no, honestly, I was never the dude that just like was up there talking about my dick. You know what I'm saying? Even at 14, because it's like, I don't think anybody want to hear that shit. But I was 8 years old watching the McLaughlin Group with my mom. You know what I'm saying? So my perspectives and the things that you have when you start, people don't realize, like, when you start out as a comedian, you have all of the you have all the audacity and none of the skill. Then as you get better doing stand-up, you get more skilled, but then you lose all your audacity. Because your audacity came in, you don't know that the politics is what they are. You don't know that the manager is agent. You don't know none of that. All you know is that there's a thing that you like doing, and you want to do it at the biggest level possible, and you do it at the levels available to you the best way you know how. When you get skilled and you learn Santa Claus ain't real, it changes your perspective a little bit. So I think the best thing any comic can do, no matter when you start, is try to hold on to as much audacity as you started out with and maintain a skill level that's just as big as your audacity. And then as the years go on and you sharpen your blade, when it's time to cut, hopefully you can cut and cut deep and resonate with the people that saw you take the slash.
Man, that's Wu-Tang right there.
I'll take it.
That's real talk. That's real logic right there. Along those lines, you know what? We're going to actually hold that thought, because I want to ask you a question about when you say perception, and I want to ask you a question about the next question I'm going to ask you is about your perception and objectivity in comedy, and how you see those two things and how they've changed as you've gone and grown, because you've grown into not just you've grown into an adult as well as a stand-up.
Yes.
So we're going to take a break, and we'll be back after these quick messages.
And less yellow garbage.
Hey, podcrastinators. Are you podcrastinating because you haven't found the show for you? Well, you're in luck. Here at Mad Scientist Media, we're coming out with amazing content throughout the month. Take a look and see what we have coming up at our website, msm.fm, or wherever you listen to podcasts. That's Mad Scientist Media! And we're back on Comedy Craft. Welcome back, our guest this week, Neko White.
Yes,
Neko, how you feeling?
Brother, I feel great. We got rid of the yellow garbage.
He did not like yellow garbage.
Nah, I really didn't. Whoever makes that, I want you to know that you need to treat your people better.
He was sour on the sour. I mean, what else can you be? It is what it is. He was sour on the sour, but you know what they say, when life gives you lemons,
you make shitty beer.
And people will buy it.
You know what?
Well, beer is an acquired taste to me anyway.
Yeah, no, likewise.
Michelle, what do you think? Like beer?
I know a lot in beer.
Right.
I'm not really big on it.
Right. I mean, none of us. I mean, I'm not a huge beer fan. I do like the taste of certain beers, but I'm more of a cider head. But I do like these craft beers that we have. I said it to say, if a beer is crafted really well, it is to me like a good joke. It's like, okay, yeah, I would like another taste of that. It is something that's unique, or that you take home in a growler, and you're like, okay, cool. I was in Pennsylvania, and I got this tasty beer, or I'm at the DC Comedy Loft.
That first one we had, it's kind of like when you talk to an audience member expecting it to be a good time, and then as soon as they get a taste of what it is you're trying to give them and they punch you, that's what that first beer was like. I felt like I got hit and I didn't deserve the beer. That's me personally.
So we were talking before the break. We were talking about perception and objectivity. And I wanted to ask you, as you've grown from 14, how long have you been in it now?
12 years.
12 years. So
matter of fact, 12
26,
years.
27?
Yes, sir, 26.
Okay, cool. Oh, wow. So that's dope. I've been in about same exact amount of time.
Oh, okay. You 2007 baby.
Yeah, 2000, exactly. Yeah. It's September 2007.
September 14 on September. Look at that.
Got to know who we are. So that's it. So we're in the same class.
Yep.
So how has your perception and objectivity changed when it comes to crafting a joke?
Okay.
Because you have grown into adulthood.
Yes.
You know what I mean? Like I was already adult when I started, so I kind of knew what I wanted to talk about. What I've done is not changed it, but I've actually added to it. Like I've gotten more. I've had a family. I've grown. I didn't have a family, so now I talk about that and talk about basically being a retired revolutionary as much as opposed to being a revolutionary. You know what I mean? The same thing, but I'm not worried about going to jail. I'm just making sure I keep my kids out.
100%.
But the neighborhood also. But you ain't gonna, anyway. I said that to say so. Now my thought process has changed, but I'm asking you: has anything changed or has it grown?
A couple things. So as far as like how's my objectivity changed, I can't say that I'm completely sure. I come from a place where like we celebrate 25th birthdays like the 60th birthdays because a lot of people don't make it to that point, right? So my objectivity was always a little skewed because of where I grew up and the things that we had to face at those young ages. The biggest thing that's changed for me comedically is that I think I can. When I started, I looked at like Martin Lawrence and all those guys like a whole lot, right? So I was young. I was talking about politics. I was talking about things that I would see that I was angry at. So everything I would talk about, I had some sort of emotion based in it. Okay. I felt something about any topic I ever touched. It was either I like, I hate. It was all very emotion based, right? And then the observations and all that stuff. In my time, I've been able to get a little deeper into my observations and consider the other side and the 5 W's whenever I write a joke. That's something that I try to consider. Okay, what am I saying? What's everybody else saying about it? And then how do I actually feel? And try to get to as to me as I can in those jokes without telling you anything directly about me, if that makes sense.
It does.
So I tell you about me through my thoughts on insert thing here. And if you listen right, that's my way of being personal without personally saying anything.
Right.
And
I got you. Yeah.
Then on the side, there's not social commentary, there's personal analysis. I'm more open about things that I necessarily wouldn't have been open to. Like I have a joke about how I have a crackhead doorman and living in the projects, we don't hire doormen. And stuff like that just 3 years ago, I would hold off on only because it's like, you dress a certain way, you look a certain type of nice, and you don't think people expect that from you. And it's like, but that's also a side. You know what I'm saying? Where I know those people. I know very complicated people and how to understand them. And I think that's been a gift to the craft that I'm in.
Yeah.
I
can dig it.
To understand, to be able to, like one of the things I hate the most that people who can understand the military but don't understand quote unquote street gangs, right?
Right.
It makes no sense to me because I know for a fact that most people join the quote-unquote street gang for the exact same reasons a lot of people join the military. Right. They're looking for people that they can have a camaraderie with. Right. They usually have family members that were in that organization beforehand. Right. Or they're looking for people who are like-minded and how they feel about their space. And one area being a block, the other area being the country. So to be able to understand those dualities, that's something that's been able to grow in the last couple of years. Wow, where it was really basic when I started, and now it's a little deeper. Yeah, okay. You know what I'm saying? And I feel like I'm able to relate with more people now. I wish I was as goofy as I was when I started.
That's that you were talking about before. That same
certain things you got to keep. Like back then you watch everybody. I used to watch Cat Williams and Martin. But I used to fall down on stage. You know what I'm saying? My act outs would be that crazy. And there's a part of me that misses that. But I also don't think you change too much from who you were. You just get better at doing how you do. Yes. Yes. I think I'm in like that type of thing where if you look at my oldest tapes, like, oh, okay, yeah, there it goes. That's it. That's it. Because you'll see like the jokes, you'll hear the jokes and go, the joke might not be as good, but you'll look at it and be like, whatever that magic was, that magic stayed the same. You just matured it. Right. And I think that's the case with a lot of comedians. We look at all our favorites, even the ones that had their identity crises. They were trying to do one thing and that wasn't really them. Right. But you could see those glimmers when that thing that works, when they hit, it's like, oh, that's what it was. Hold on, my mom's calling to make sure I'm alive. Let me tell her I'm alive.
Mom, we welcome moms on the podcast.
Okay.
Hey, moms.
Hey, Mom, I'm on a podcast right now at the DC Comedy Loft. All right? Everybody here said hello. She said hello. All right.
Welcome to Comedy Craft.
All right, talk to you later.
You got a good son.
Hey, let me tell you something. She's so worried about me being down here in D.C. because she a lifelong New Yorker. All she knows is that she literally was like, D, you got to be careful down there. That's the murder capital. I'm like, no. That's back when Chris Rock did that special here. You know what I'm saying?
Bubba. Yeah. It changed a little bit.
I ain't seen no.
So speaking
inkling
of specials, what do we have shelves next to sip on?
The next beer is the Estrella Jalisco.
Ooh.
Jalisco.
Yeah.
Sound like a sore throat.
Wow. It has a 4.5 ABV.
What does that mean, ABV?
It is the alcohol by volume.
Oh.
And it's a very light, pale Mexican Pilsner.
I like it because it tastes like Listerine with all the burn taken out of it. I don't know if I'm getting drunk or
just the liquor. Listerine with just
freshening my breath.
Woo!
Listerine that quenches your thirst.
Whoever made this, y'all need to put this in pocket pack strips. I tell you, y'all, whoo, boy. If y'all was smart, y'all be dangerous. This shit is crazy. Woo! Yeah, that's a beer right there. This shit is dark water.
Dark water.
That's what I'm gonna name it.
Dark water.
I'm gonna name this dark water.
Dark water.
It's see-through.
Yeah, not even. Because it has like the taste. Like, you ever had water that like there's no way to like explain
water.
this. Not Flint, no, not Flint. I don't know what lead tastes like. But you ever taste water and you go, oh, okay, it's cold and it's refreshing, but this ain't good water. Like, we could have filtered this a couple of times.
Yeah.
That's what this tastes like.
Oh, like the Brita where the filter goes.
Yeah,
And
but
all
like
the charcoal is in it.
there you go.
Before the Brita.
Yeah.
Okay.
But there's a quality to it, like in the flatness, where it's like, yo, this might be making my breath smell better, when it's absolutely not. I can assure you. We can throw this in the trash.
You put the Harlem Shake on it too.
Next to the yellow garbage. This why I don't fuck with beer, craft beer, uncrafted beer, and non-cured beer.
Non-cured beer. So what do you drink?
If I do drink, I prefer bourbon. I like rye whiskey. I like there's this one
so we
called
got some stuff coming up.
Woodford Reserve that I really
Woodford.
like.
Yeah.
Woodford is cool. It's funny. One of my best friends, actually, the reason I started doing comedy, he told me, he was like, yeah, man, if it don't taste like cologne, you can't fuck with it. He said, we were hanging out one day and the bartender was like, Neko, what do you want? This nigga said, he wants something that tastes nasty. This nigga drink shit that's nasty.
Nasty.
Yo,
my goodness.
You ever tried to impress people? So I remember I had a bottle of Johnny Walker Blue, right?
Oh, yeah.
Somebody gave me for doing my album.
Look at that. Go
Yeah.
ahead.
So I had that, and we had to get together at my house. So my homie comes over, and my grandmother had crystal, you know what I'm saying? So I poured it in the crystal a while ago and put it in the freezer. That way it could be chilled, right? So I wasn't even trying to like brag and no shit like that. I go to get the shit, I crack it open, and all the company is there. I go to pour it. My homie goes, yo, this nigga pulled out his liquor in a perfume bottle. To this day, I ain't never used that crystal. I was so hurt.
Oh, man, in a perfume bottle. Dark water goes on the shelf.
Dark water.
Next to that.
Yeah, man. Dark water go right on the shelf. But we only put dark water in plastic Solo cups.
So, you still live in Harlem?
Still in Harlem.
Right on, man.
Still in Harlem. Love.
What part of Harlem you in?
Huh?
Where you at in Harlem?
I'm east side. I can't tell you where because the feds are listening. But
So
niggas always say that like the feds really give a fuck. Like,
if they wanted to know, they would. That's the funny shit to me. I'm like,
Bro,
well, they want to know.
And any nigga that said the feds are watching, the feds are going, you don't do nothing that's on our radar, dog. We don't know nothing.
We see you and we allow you to slip through the cracks.
They don't even see you. Shit, and I'm a comedian. The fuck am I talking about?
Oh,
the feds are watching.
Every
No, they
motherfucking
ain't.
thing. Nigga, you in D.C. now, they watch. Trust me.
Oh, I know.
What's the name? Even the Secret Service got a SWAT squad.
But dog, I went to go.
They got cops.
I went to go by the monument and said, man, let me get the fuck out of here before. That's why I keep my hotel door locked with the chain on it.
Man, shoot. You know what they say in other states? They break your necks. In D.C., they break your pockets.
I ain't even worried about my pockets.
They break your butt. They will break.
I don't want no white girl walking into my hotel room thinking it's her house, nigga. I don't want none of that shit.
Can't have it. She
gets
only few years. Oh my goodness! Could you imagine that in reverse?
I'm not. Oh, imagine, nigga, if I'd have walked to her house and stepped on her dog's tail, they had the electric chair on right now for me.
That nigga walked in the house and heard a dog.
And soon
Michael Vick ass nigga.
And they ain't even, matter of fact, they wouldn't even put me in an electric chair. They'll tie me down and pull my head back and make me drink a whole bunch of this dark water.
More.
This type of shit that'll make your tongue dry, man. I don't know how people, like, honestly, who truly enjoys this shit? I want to meet the person. It's like, no. Don't, nobody's having real fun drinking this. Like he's playing. I'm dead ass serious. Like, I respect your decision as an adult, but honestly, I can't see how my tongue is so not with the shit when it comes to this particular beverage, man. It makes me wonder, are other people crazy on my side of the loop?
That's a good question.
You know, like, because if you
Isn't
this...
our question is comics all the time. Are other people crazy or am I just out of the loop?
No,
that's how we come up with what we come up with.
100, but it's also like, we got to understand there's nothing new under the sun. That's why
Very true. When shit is not good, it's not good. Mm-hmm. And we have to be able to, we the ones to be able to call it out and go like, hey, this is, like, the fact that we're joking about it, going, hey, you know what, that's what makes the pill a lot easier to swallow.
Here's something to what you had asked me earlier about objectivity and something that changed with me. I used to think that audiences, no matter what, were correct, right?
Yeah.
Now, these days, I feel there's a lot more of me that's, how you say, I care about this art form so much, whatever it means, that it hurts me sometimes to see how serious people take comedy versus how lightly they take everything else. The world is burning around people, and it's like, I seen more people going after the comedian that got fired from Saturday Night Live. I seen more tweets about that, honestly, than I seen about the Amber Geiger situation. And it's shit like that that really grinds my gears. Because it's like, no, but for real.
It should.
Because it's like, you had a lady go into a man's house, kill him, say she thought it was her house.
Yeah.
And I seen more people mad at what a comedian said. Now, mind you, you have every right to feel how you feel, but let's look at levels of severity and precedence here. On one side, you stopped the comedian from moving forward, and what could have been a teachable moment, you made it a moment of hurt, and maybe nothing was taught, right? As opposed to, this is an example of the police literally having license to kill you in your house, and they're getting hey, we understand. And you were more mad at the comic.
Yeah.
Just try to understand what that means for us and where we're going. Because it's all fun and games until it's you.
Well, not so much where we're going, but where we've been and where we've come from.
Yeah.
So it's like, here's the thing about where we are now. You are aware of this. And as a young person of 27, and I just say a young person, I'm still 26. In my 40s, 26, excuse me. He said, don't give me that extra year,
Don't be aging me. You know how this industry is.
Hey.
They'll be like, yeah, Neko lost it. Huh? Lost what?
I said at the same.
All I had was a birthday.
Where would you rather be than right here, right now, to make those statements?
No.
And you're right, the audience isn't always right. Like, the customer isn't always right.
Yeah, I wouldn't rather.
So we are the ones who be able to say, like, yo, you guys are simply you guys are looking at this That's the only thing that has weight for some of these folks.
Yeah.
The only thing we have in common with some of these people is 9/11.
Yeah.
You dig what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So and I say that, and people are like, "What?" I'm like, "That's not." I'm not saying it to be harsh. I'm saying it to be like that's just the reality of the first time tragedy may have entered other people's lives as opposed to when it entered my life.
Right.
And how I'm like, how people can say people die every day.
Yeah.
And be okay with it.
Well, it's one of those things where it comes down to perspective, where it's like you had to understand that certain things were a part of life, and it's like when. Like you said, there's nothing better than being in it right now, because I like to think that I played a gray area decently. I like to think, at least that's my hope, that everything's not black and white. And too many times we try to answer in black and white, and the answer is gray. When the Me Too movement started, I remember I was having a conversation with a girl. She happened to be white and affluent, right? And I said, I think white women have the most privilege in the country. And she yelled for 20 minutes about how that's not true. And I said, well, if you look at it, you get to mobilize white men. Now, the only other people that have that option in America is the fucking president. You understand me?
Damn.
You get to mobilize white men. And then she asked me, she said, well, what about your black male privilege? And I laughed, because I said, well, if you look at it, no, not only what is that, but it's like, you look at where we are right now, and you look at where we came from. All of the black sanctuary cities that were erected were destroyed on alleged allegations of rape of black man to white lady. And the military will come and destroy our shit.
Yeah.
So it's like when we talk about privilege, and even if you look at the Me Too movement and how it went down, they had an article in the Times about it, right? There was a black woman started that movement.
Yeah, she did.
She was on the middle. She was so far in the middle that when you open the shit, you would have to crack like the middle a little more to see her full face.
Right.
None of ours got any representation for real in this movement.
Right.
You know?
Right.
So to be able
Well, if you figure if it happens to, and this is always the what's the word? When you bring up statistics, right? So it's happening to X group at this much. Well, it's happening to black people this much more often.
Yeah.
You dig what I'm saying?
Yep.
Because nobody's looking that way. Like when you're talking about kidnapped children, when you're talking about any significant event that's happening, once it becomes meth is a thing, crack is a thing. When crack was a thing, that's the whole Chappelle joke, right?
Yeah.
That's the whole thing. So it's like it's when it's in our society, it's like okay, so where's
they were savages, they were animals, they were criminals.
Yeah.
Meanwhile, there's kids now that are all hopped up on pills, and it's like, oh, we got to care so much. I get tired of the mental instability shit of, oh, well, he was mentally ill. I don't give a fuck how mentally ill you were. I got cousins that are mentally ill and went and killed no fucking body. Meanwhile, I got to sit here and pray for Dylan Roof. Are you fucking kidding me?
Yeah.
You're not mentally ill. You ain't had no history of being mentally ill before this. Yeah. You were in your right mind. You're fucking evil. What happened to that?
You did it.
You're evil.
You did it.
Nothing. There's no
It's
up
that
or down.
simple.
There's no gene for that. You're fucking evil.
You did it.
Period.
Yeah.
But meanwhile, if my nephew goes out and does that same crime, shit.
Well, there is no way.
He'd
And that's
be
the thing. Yeah.
6 feet under, laying next to some dark water. I can't keep drinking this silly shit. I'm gonna be honest on this podcast.
On that note, as somber as it may be,
Only if you want it to be.
remember there's hope, folks. And there's hope in the fact that we will be back right after these messages. Comedy Craft is recorded right here in Washington, D.C. at the D.C. Comedy Loft, an iconic location for stand-up comedy. We've got some amazing shows the month of December. We've got the Mind Melt Comedy Showcase LGBTQ Night on December 5th. Shula King headlines December 5th through the 7th. We've got Sean Walsh December 6th and 7th. We've got the DC Comedy Loft New Talent Contest December 11th. The Chris and Paul Show on December 12th. Matt Bergman pulls in December 13th and 14th. Brooks Whelan pulls in also December 13th and 14th. Zoltan Kansas, December 19th and 21st. And Mary Mack is December 19th and 20th. All these shows and more have tickets available at dccomedyloft.com. And we're back. Welcome back to Comedy Craft. I'm your host, Haywood Turnip C. Jr. We're talking the craft of comedy this week with our guest, Neko White.
Back like we never left.
Neko and our server, Shells.
What's up?
What's up, Shells? Shells actually hooked us up with a little bit of whiskey during the break. Guys,
Something that tastes good.
So while you guys are listening to those ads, we got a little water and whiskey and another beer. So what do we have on this beer tray, Shells?
The next beer is the Victory Fest beer.
Victory Fest. It is October.
It's kind of close. It's from Downingtown, Pennsylvania. It has a 5.6 ABV, and it is a Marzen.
What you said they called this?
A Marzen.
No, but what's it called for the fest? Victory?
Victory. That's the name of the brewing company.
Tastes like a loss to me. Now, actually, I'm messing around. This one is actually decent. I like this one the best of everything that you give me so far.
Oh, yeah,
Appreciate that.
Victory's a winner. What?
Victory's the only winner. Victory has a decent taste to it. I don't know if it's like Samuel Adams, but my grandma used to have Samuel Adams, and I would drink the foam off of it. So it reminds me of that foam. So it brings me back to a good place. And yeah, so to whoever made this one, kudos to you. And may the other ones that I had tonight, may those people learn from whoever made this.
I like
All right,
that.
Victory.
But Victory, let me tell you something, Victory. Listen to me, Victory, you hearing me? Victory. They laughing, I ain't laughing, Victory. Victory, understand me. If you really want to win, you need to get like some Woodford Reserve.
As we sip a little Victory and a little
Pretty
Woodford.
sure they do.
Yeah?
Because it's a lot of beers that let their beers age in bourbon barrels,
Oh.
which adds whiskey to them.
Well, I will effectively shut my uninformed ass the fuck up.
It's good when they
Excuse
age it in those whiskey barrels.
Yeah,
though.
it's
I like
really,
that.
really good beers.
Yeah, I
Well,
do like that.
perhaps they aged this one in whiskey. And I'll be honest, I wasn't going to mess with this because it has the color of a diabetic's piss. I wasn't going to drink it at
It's
first.
amber in color.
Oh, is that what they call it? Amber?
That's what they call it. Amber in
Gotcha. I
color.
thought somebody ain't go to dialysis. Okay. Gotcha.
Remember we used to get pop tops for people who had to go through dialysis?
Boy,
Get the top off a pop can so they can actually go through it.
man, oh man. But it does taste very good, and I'm glad to be drinking this.
It's very autumny.
Yeah. It's got that. Yeah.
I wasn't expecting it to be good. You know what I'm saying? Not, because the other ones I've had, as you can tell from what I've been saying, have been amazing. But I was just worried that it would be 3 in a row that I didn't like. But lo and behold, third time's the charm, baby. I did it. Either that or you poisoned my palate to the point where anything but what I had just had to be good. But thank y'all so much for having me on.
Oh, man, you are a wild one, brother.
No, y'all are wild. Y'all poured this shit. First, you brought me out cough medicine.
Yellow grandma.
Then you brought me out some water that somebody left change in.
Dark water that made us somber.
And then you
We
brought
started
this
talking about
out.
racism and
Okay,
everything.
so what's the
That
name
shit we
of this
started
one?
talking about fucking racism, sexism.
I'm going to call this one Melancholy Hennessy. That's what I'm going to call this one.
Okay.
It tastes like Hennessy if Hennessy had no confidence in itself. Because you know how...
Non-threatening Hennessy.
Non-threatening Hennessy. The Hennessy that you could drink a bottle of this and don't want to punch nobody.
Non-threatening Hennessy.
Okay.
All right?
This is weekday Hennessy.
Yeah. Nah, this tastes like some shit that'll make you give up. like not on life, but like a fight or something. I'll smack the shit out of you. Yes, you will, nigga. Yes, you will.
Turn the other cheek.
Hey, man, what's wrong? Bro, I've been drinking Melancholy Hennessy all week. I ain't never paying my bills again.
You know what they call Melancholy Hennessy in the islands?
If you want to save money,
White
get you a
Hennessy.
shot of Melancholy
It's
Hennessy.
true, though. It's so true.
But it's good. It's good, though. It's good. If you want something that's like melancholy and like Hennessy, make sure you get some Melancholy Hennessy.
So,
What else we talking about?
All right, so we're talking about now. We're gonna actually talk shift gears just a little bit. Speaking of melancholy events, we're gonna talk about happy. Well, I want to say melancholy and happiness. You know, because what we do is we hope to bring happiness to people's lives, or at least happiness
All the
to
time.
a situation. So you headlining the Comedy Laff this weekend.
Yes.
Actually, this Sunday.
This Sunday.
October 12th. I'm not sure when folks will be listening to this. It'll either be the 3rd or the 20th of a month. Maybe
Damn,
November,
so
December.
they gonna
So
miss
this is
like
right
mom.
around Christmas. This is right around Christmas time. So you'll have been here.
By the time you guys hear this, it'll be 3 months too late. But I want you to know I appreciate you for listening. And the next time I'm here, I hope to see your faces.
Hey, that's what we hope to see your faces. I said it to say that's the whole point of what we do, right? We hope to see faces. We hope to be able to headline.
And yeah.
So what would you go ahead? Because I mean that's what I want you to talk about. What would you say to your early self?
Oh man, if I could talk to Neko just starting out, I would say
14-year-old Neko too. Oh wow.
If I could speak to 14-year-old me, I would tell you everything that you wrote down in your joke books about what the dream is so small because you will have accomplished all of those things by the time you turn 17. And then you're going to reach a point from 17 to 21 where you realize that even those things that you want to accomplish are so within your reach, and the only thing standing in your way is you. It's nobody else. When you audition for Wild 'N Out, the reason that you didn't get Wild 'N Out is because you didn't show up the way you could have showed up in that first one. Okay. Because sometimes you'll watch other people. When I did the Wild 'N Out audition when the show came back, I made it to like almost the final testing. Yeah. And in the room, it was me, Carlos Miller, Jacob Williams, Pete Davidson, Andrew Schultz, oh my God, Chico Bean. Yeah. So all the people that ended up being on the show, and you would have to basically play the game. And I would go out, and a couple times I said shit and it didn't get a laugh. So I did what most comics do, is like I kind of faded into the background, right? And that was the mistake. Yeah. You know what I mean? But then I found out years later that Nick wanted me on the show, but the people were like, we already got the full cast and everything like that. I would tell younger me that the people that were good to you when you were starting remain the people that are good to you years later.
How about that?
And you get to a point at around 25 where you realize the things that matter. Make sure you always believe in the audience of people that pays for your tickets, because nothing matters outside of them. Mm-hmm. And as often as you can take mom out for dinner, take her out.
That's real right there, man. My mom was able to see me for the first time this past year, and I've been doing it 12 years, and she saw me on her birthday. So it's kind of cool for her to see me on her birthday, and I was actually performing at the Kennedy Center.
Right.
It was one of those moments where it was just like, oh, wow, and I actually did well. Yeah. So it was like, those are the moments that,
My mom hasn't seen me I don't like cursing in front of my mother. That's the
same here.
You know what I mean?
Here.
It's a weird respect thing. Yeah. So, and I know she be wanting to come to the shows bad, because like her friends will come to the show. Yeah. I got best mom in the world. Anybody would say that, but I'm the only one that's right. But it's one of those things where last time she came to a show, I was doing the Apollo, and I'm from Hart.
Yes.
And it wasn't amateur night, it was a show. Yeah. And I was one of 3 comics, and we all doing 20 minutes apiece. The room is sold out. And she got to see that on her birthday. Oh. You know what I'm saying? So it's like the next time moms come out, that's how I would like her to come out. Like next time moms come out, I want it to be like a late night TV set or something like that. Even though she would go to a regular show. Right. Because she get tired of her friends showing up. She's like, people want to think I don't support you, but I get all the support in the world. So
just knowing that she digs what you do and digs you for doing it.
To add on to the things that I would tell younger me, man, there's so much that you're going to learn, and so many things remain the same. Wow. Things that you thought you were wrong for thinking back then, you come to find out you were absolutely right. The people that you felt were snaky turned out to be just that. And some of the people who you didn't give a chance to actually turned out to be people that didn't deserve chances. However, what they did deserve was they didn't deserve chances, but they deserved to be left alone. Like, you didn't have to judge them either way. Yeah. You know what I mean?
I do understand that.
You don't got to make an enemy or weirdo out of somebody just because you don't want to make friends with them. Yeah. They have every right to exist the way they exist, the same way you have the right to exist the way you exist.
Look at you.
So that would be the advice that I give younger me.
Wow, man. That's dope, yo. Coming into your own, growing up.
And don't let anybody tell you who you are or what you are.
Look at that. Hey, young Neko, when you're hearing this in the past, your future is really bright. Speaking of bright futures, so we touched on it earlier, some of your credits. I mean, not just for laughs and stuff like that, new faces, but you also host a roast battle.
Yes.
Which is a really big thing, and it's a really sharp thing. So how do you like hosting roast battle? How do you like hosting those events? And that's a really popular thing, a popular event.
It's popular. I love roast battle. Hosting in general, I really don't care for it. You know what I'm saying? But I love hosting a roast battle in the city because it's one of those fun things where it's like everybody lets loose, and I feel like I'm really a part of it. Like if I wasn't there, it wouldn't be the same. You know? So knowing that, that's the reason why I keep doing it, even though there's sometimes where it's like, another one. I gotta hear these niggas yell at each other again. Oh, right. Okay, so what joke do you have this time about this person's dead mom? Okay. Oh, bro, it get deep. It get real deep. Actually, one of the best jokes I heard was there was this girl, and she told this dude, she said something about his mother who died, and he said back to her, he said, shut up, you're just mad because at least my mom got some flowers. And that shit killed. I think that was James Pontel that said that. So shout out to you, youngin. There was another one that my God.
My goodness.
some Frank Liotti told Rosebud Baker that she had the personality of a filing cabinet, and I don't know if I've ever laughed so hard in my life.
Cold blood.
It get cold as hell, dog.
Well, we had the Sklar Brothers, though. They were talking about their battle with one another, and they were talking about their battle with Brad Williams. So we were talking about how raw something like roast battle can get, how real it can get, but how fun it is also.
My only
the
only thing that makes me kind of go like is that sometimes when they get two black comedians, they don't understand the way black people roast.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Yeah. And that to us sometimes to make it sound like it's off the top of our head is the genius in it. But we prepared what we just said. We just said it like it's coming off the top of our heads.
Yeah.
And I've seen it go to where sometimes judges be like, well, if you would have prepared something, it's like this dude just wrote that thing down. It was prepared.
Well, you touched on something right there.
Shoot.
When it's something like what Neil Brandon said. He was like, the average black guy walking down the street is funnier than probably one of the top white comics.
Hey, dog. Yeah. if you want me to be honest, I feel like the black comedian, the black female comedian in particular, is in a weird place right now because like people are complaining about diversity and all that type of stuff, right? Yeah. Meanwhile, if you look at the quote unquote urban comedy scene, there really is none. Like we have our rooms and stuff like that, but we don't have any industry. Back in the day, you had Def Comedy Jam. Back in the day, you had Comic View. They were getting the HBO half hours and stuff like that. Yeah. But when you look at it, and you think you've been doing comedy 12 years, I've been doing comedy 12 years, which means we're in that fun professional tween stage of starting because we come at the end of the last generation of Comic View and all that stuff, and then we come in the generation before the social media guys and all that stuff, and the Instagrams and the Facebooks, the Vines. So you have all those comics, right? And it seems like a lot of times when they showcase black comedians, they'll try to show like, okay, you can either have an energy level as a 1 or an energy level as a 5. When a lot of us operate in the middle.
Yeah.
The 2s, the 3s, the 4s. And that's why you see so much annoyance when people go, oh, why is this person so loud? Or why is this person so monotone? Well, it's like, well, relax. That's a 1 and a 5. And they're both very much just as great and necessary.
Right.
But a lot more people are struggling to find what they could connect with because there are 3. There are 2. You know, they don't necessarily need you to jump up and down. They don't necessarily need you to, tell us the meaning of life. They want something right in the middle. And I feel like there's a big disconnect between the industry and the black comedian these days because they're not going into those rooms.
Well, there's a disconnect between the industry and the black community in general.
But that's
overall industry.
100%.
You know what I mean?
That's what I'm saying.
But exactly what you're saying is right on point when you're talking about, like, and it's funny because you mentioned something earlier, and I wanted to talk about that. You mentioned watching McLaughlin Report with your mom.
McLaughlin Group, yeah.
Yeah, McLaughlin Group. And living in D.C., we are aware of what, like, I know people who go to his doctor and stuff like that.
Oh, wow.
So I just say that to say, you're in that thought process, and most comedians are. I said this on one of our episodes before. All funny people are smart, but not all smart people are funny.
Right.
So the fact that you can even discern that their personalities are on different levels, 1 through 5. You have your introverts versus your extroverts, and you have all these different ways of testing people's mental abilities.
Capacities, yep.
You know what I'm saying? So when black people are looked at through that lens, what do you think about how we're even viewed?
As far as we're viewed, if we're talking about
just through that lens,
if we're talking about the lens of the industry to us, I think they're going off reactions, right? And you look at it, right? What are two things people love right now? Nostalgia and extremes, right? A lot of people, when they talk about comedy and they tell you who their favorites are that are outside of comedy, they'll go back like, oh, Dave Chappelle, like Chris Rock. They'll go back to like throwbacks of people, right? And it's seldom that they name anybody new. And when they name anybody fresh of the previous emerging class last 10 years, is you see people a lot of big social media followings and stuff like that. And you wonder, well, what's the disconnect? And I think it's layered. I think if you're a young black comedian and works the urban scene, there's no industry for you.
Right.
And here's something else that we never talk about. There aren't a lot of black managers. There aren't a lot of black agents.
Right.
I can name you all. I can name you.
We know them.
Yeah, right. But we sitting here in a comedy club. The staff is in here with us. We can't name 10 black agents.
Right.
You know what I'm saying?
Right.
There's no young, like, how do I say this? There's no modern day Bob Sumner. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
And you need that. You need a modern day Bob Sumner. You need somebody that's going to go out and be in these rooms that might not be the improv. It might not be the
a modern day Tina Graham, somebody who's going to be out there viewing and seeing and understand where that voice is coming from and what that voice needs.
This generation
to be and I say what that voice needs when I say like a show like Def Jam. Actually, you know what? We're going to take a quick break. We're going to take a quick break, and then we're going to come back and talk about this and have another brew because we're on something right here. I mean, we're not going to change the world. And we're not going to, but we are going to help those people listening understand what it is exactly that we're talking about, that little nuance that we're putting on.
And hopefully, maybe, because, especially most comics, we would like to inspire like another comic. But if I can inspire a black or Hispanic person that want to go into the industry side of our business, that would make me very fucking happy.
And on
God
that note,
knows we need more of that.
We'll be right back after this quick break. Welcome back to Comedy Craft. You are listening to Comedy Craft with your host, Haywood Turnipseed Jr., and our guest this week, Neko White.
Neko Marcellus White.
Neko Marcellus White. Hey, right here on Mad Scientist.
Matter of fact, Neko Sunflower Seed White.
Sunblock seed.
Since you can turn up green.
I'm telling you, man, the best time of this show right now is doing the breaks.
Y'all missing the best
during
shit.
The breaks, we be talking all kind of shit. I swear to goodness. Oh, man. But we're not just talking shit. We actually drinking beers.
Yes, we are.
And we're talking about the craft of comedy. So before the break, we were actually talking about industry and getting more people of color.
Yes.
I don't want to think more people of color, but more...
No,
we were actually expanding that seat at the table. That's what we're talking about.
Let me be specific, though, because a lot of times what we'll have in comedy is they'll use, because when the diversity thing happened, right?
Yeah.
And we were talking about there aren't enough black people on this thing. There was a comedy festival that happened in Atlanta, I think it was.
Oh,
and
they
didn't pick any black women, right? Yeah. Now, this is Atlanta. They didn't pick any black women. And they said, oh, well, we only had like 10 submit. Who you think you're talking to? Who you think you're talking to? You're in Atlanta, dog.
You're in Atlanta.
There's no way you can make me believe that less than 10 black female comedians submitted to this festival. Then they said that they ranked the comedians and they picked like the top, whatever. So that means, again, back to what I was going to earlier, we need more people to understand our humor to where... You look at somebody like an Adele Givens, right? Yeah. Who's an amazing comedian. Yeah. Point blank period, amazing. Yeah. Jokes for days. You look at some more, super underrated. Jokes for days. Yeah. You look at somebody like a
What do you think about that, Shells? I mean, because as a black woman yourself, what do you think about a black lady sketch show? What do you think about the black woman's voice?
I'm here for it.
Mm-hmm.
Always here for it.
Yeah. And that's it, because it's like that's the voice that doesn't actually get to be heard with what it is you're talking about. We don't have the industry isn't set up. It's a reflection of itself, right? But America has only been looking at itself through its own lens, and when it showcases us and hears our voice, it also is reminding of what it has not done and what it has not accomplished and what it has put people through.
Yeah,
on many levels. You dig what I'm saying? So we were talking off mic before about how a white woman had said to you about your black male privilege.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And then the black male privilege that we have that they perceive is just the fact that we get to be up here and talk about shit.
Yeah.
We do.
Yeah.
And then even like a voice, the black female voice, the black woman's voice is just now being appreciated.
Yeah.
It's been heard.
Yeah.
You know, but it's just not being appreciated for being unique.
But that's what I'm saying. When you look at it, dog, and this is one of those things where it's like when it comes to black women, they've been the foothold for every movement. You understand me? Without getting a lot of credit back.
Yeah.
When you look at the feminist movements of the early days, right?
Yeah.
There's a lot of credit that should be given across the board, and a lot of credit that black women are missing. When you look at the Me Too movement, we can't sit here and name amongst ourselves 3 black women that came forward and said anything. Why? Because they didn't get the publicity that they should have got. When they were saying, when Viola Davis came out and said we need to be paid equally, the fact that Cicely Tyson has never made the same money as oh my God, Jennifer Lawrence.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
The fact that Cicely Tyson has never made as much money as Meryl Streep. And I don't give a fuck what movie you show me. You can't say that Meryl Streep is a better actor than Cicely Tyson at all. At all. In any way, shape, form, or fashion. Nowhere.
And that's the uniqueness of the industry, is the fact that when you bring more seats to the table, you get more voices saying stuff like that, saying that they appreciate not just Meryl Streep, but also Cicely Tyson.
Yeah.
Also, who's thrown up? Like Jack Nicholson or Al Pacino are thrown up a lot, right? But then like Denzel is a bad motherfucker, and then Sam Jackson to me is probably one of the baddest.
See, because you can't fake longevity, but this is what I'm talking about. Everybody owes Monique a big apology. You know what I'm saying?
Whoa, talk about that.
Straight up and down. We owe Monique a big apology because
I agreed. I didn't boycott Netflix because I'm not paying for it right now.
No. No, but
I'm not paying for it anyway.
But let me get this out the way I need to say it, because otherwise I'll fuck it up. When you look at what Monique was saying and you think about the fact they offered her $500,000, right?
Yeah.
Now, $500,000 for Monique.
Yeah.
Now,
yeah.
If you find out Monique's making that much, right? And people like to say, oh, well, you know, Tiffany Haddish, blah, 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 is doing what she's doing. You're right. But I've been in situations on a lower level, and the more things change, the more they stay the same. When I was at a comedy club asking for spot pay, and first thing they said was, oh, well, insert person bigger than you doesn't ask to get paid. Yeah. So why should we pay you? Yeah. So now if you're a young black female comedian or a young black comedian in general, who got more credentials than Monique? Like, honestly.
Yeah.
And if they'd offer her $500,000, what you think they're gonna offer you?
Yeah.
So the fact that we went back on kind of like, oh man, you know, she should be happy or she has been. It's like,
well, that's the slave mentality.
But no.
It is.
I can't go. I can't go that far and say slave mentality, because you talking to people that don't know nothing about the inner workings of this. You talking to people that work standard 9-to-5 jobs. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And that type of money is insane to them. Meanwhile, they don't understand that Monique probably could make that in 15 shows. You know what I'm saying?
Well,
and
does
that's why,
make that, because she still does sell out shows.
But that's the thing.
She is still killing.
And people will go, oh, well, she ain't selling out arenas. It's like, nigga, they pay that at comedy clubs.
That's she does have a Vegas residency.
That's the part that people don't understand.
Yeah, and when she went down her resume, I mean, it was absolutely true and right. What it is, when I say slave mentality, is the fact that people didn't want to hear that they might be wrong about what they don't know.
Right.
But people don't know what they don't know, and they're unwilling to talk about what they don't know. Or not, I should say talk about. They're unwilling to listen to someone talk about things they don't know. So, like, we've been listening to shows tell us what we don't know about drinks, right? We don't know about crab beers.
Yeah, Lord knows I don't.
Boom, This is what this is.
Matter of fact, we got a new one. Tell me about this one.
You really want to know?
I really want to know.
Okay. It is the dogfish head.
Oh, hell no.
Right.
What's this? What?
That's the name of the company. Dogfish Head Brewing.
And this nigga took a sip and said, ooh, I don't know if I want this. I don't want this. If
anything is a dogfish head, that is
if you can make somebody who sounds like Barry White do music Soul Child, I don't know if I want to sip this for real. All right, I'm
the 120 minute.
It is the 120 minute triple IPA.
Woo!
Very, very, very on the boozy side.
Yeah, boozy. That's booze. That is booze.
Okay, so I want to give you a little bit of insight on this.
This shit tastes like King Cobra. This tastes like malt liquor that my grandma used to buy out the store, like Country Club, Old English, 800. But you know what? It's really good. Like it's because it's closer to like pure alcohol. It tastes like.
It has a 18% alcohol by volume.
It tastes like somebody put. What's that cheap shit that your parents used to buy in New York? DeAndre champagne. Andre champagne and Budweiser. Yeah. That's what it tastes like.
They made a hell of a Boilermaker.
Yeah.
A Boilermaker.
Yeah.
That's exactly what this reminds me of.
Yeah.
A Boilermaker. Ooh, yeah. Ooh, I threw up on many of those.
Yeah, I ain't gonna finish this. I ain't gonna finish this because I don't want my stomach to hurt. But it tastes great. Like if you've never had this, try this. It tastes
like what we talking about. Good hard times.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, good hard times.
Good hard times. Because I said it to say because like when I
think voices, that's the name. Good hard times.
Good hard times.
Yeah. You're talking about voices, and when people talk about seats at the table.
This is my story.
Hey,
a true gets a story.
He's in the kingdom.
Oh no, they don't serve this in the kingdom.
They say this in the basement of the kingdom.
There you go. The kingdom of Satan is where you get this.
You know what Elizabeth said. This place ain't that nice.
This shit tastes like 3 6s.
This place ain't all that nice. There are other places we can be doing what we do here.
You get bologna sandwiches on rye bread with no crust on it with this shit. This is hospital bill.
Yeah, this is hospital bill. Look right here. This is hospital bill booze.
You only have one of those or you're going to jail type of beers.
Yeah, facts.
Somebody's too.
Facts.
Not even the right jail. Just going to somebody.
This type of shit, if you drank a whole glass, you going home with a dark and stormy night, chick. I assure you. The type where it's like, all right, when daybreak get here, you go out the back. Mm-hmm. This nigga really made that sound with his face. I want everybody to be certain that was not Neko White that did that. That was not me. This nigga is sassy as hell drinking this shit. So what's happening here? That motherfucker just sucked his... Yo, get me out of here, dog. Yo, what? Nigga, have you gone mad? What's happening?
Yeah, mad science is medium, yo. So we were... This is good. I did suck my teeth because this is a good drink. I had to
went full Jamaican.
I had to let you guys know what this tastes like here.
So what we were saying about earlier, right? When it comes to the industry and where the disconnection is, I feel like because everybody goes like, well, the next Chappelle, the next this, the next that, and it's like you got to understand a lot of
the industry does. It looks for the next as opposed to being.
You can't find the next while the current one is still alive. Stop trying to replace Dave Chappelle. You can't. Only he could be Dave Chappelle.
We're talking about seats at the table. I was talking about seats at the table.
Yes,
and they were talking about. There are not enough seats at the table. Mm-hmm. The people who are coming to the table these days not only help build the table, but are building their own seats. But coming to the table with that and adding flavor to it.
Yes, but
that's what I mean? It's just that these other people who are there don't necessarily want to admit that A, they don't have enough flavor in their food. Mm-hmm. And B, they really don't get what's out there. Well, case in point, when you're talking about Chappelle, right? Mm-hmm. The critics. You look at Rotten Tomatoes right now, it has, 33%, 30-some-odd%. But it has damn near not 99, if not 100% from fan base. So that means the critics are that out of touch with the actual people who are enjoying it.
Here's something that we got to remember is that not any of these people are truly qualified to be critics. The only time you're qualified to be a critic of comedy is when you paid to be present live. Okay? Or when you see a special, if you enjoyed it, you enjoyed it. That means you'll pay to see it live. If you didn't enjoy it, you probably wouldn't pay to see it live, which means your opinion doesn't really matter because you're not a part of that person's bottom line. Like here, my show here at the DC Comedy Loft, right? Yeah. I'm not from here. The people that pay to be here tomorrow, that pay for their drinks and all that, they have every right to love or hate me to the extent of how they love or hate me. Yeah. But that's not what I'm saying. What I'm saying is a lot of these people need to write an article. They need to criticize something. And we seem to only respond to negative extremes. Again, it comes back to extremes. And then you had the people that just want simple. So like you have stand-ups that'll get mad at the social media comedian. But when you look at the social media comedian, they're the 15 seconds. Sometimes people just want straight funny. Everybody's talking about issues all the time. We're dipped in issues every single day. If you're a regular person, you might not want to hear that shit all the time. And it's so much. So you just want to see something that's silly. And then you see something that's silly, it's like, you know what? I would pay to see this silly person be silly for X amount of time.
Right. Well, just enjoying yourself, right?
Right.
And that's what people like there's a big ruckus right now about what Scorsese said about Marvel movies.
What did he say?
But here's what he said, like Marvel movies are like going to amusement park.
Oh, shut up, nigga. You just mad they ain't asking.
Well, that's really it. You mad because you ain't made one yet.
Yeah.
That being said, these movies resonate with people because they allow a certain amount of escapism.
And I don't think you can resonate with being bad. Like that's what when people talk about Cardi B, you don't gotta like her, but you can't trick shit. You can't trick 50 million people.
Right. They enjoy escaping.
You can't.
That's what entertainment provides people. We talked about this before in the show, where there's art and then there's entertainment, and those two things have to exist within us, right? Mm-hmm. But they also exist within the audience that we attempt to entertain with our art. And people don't allow for that from this perspective. And that's and the critic is that weird person who has a voice now and is bigger due to this social media.
But no, they're not bigger because there aren't more of them. There's more fans than there is critics. We just let the critics talk the loudest. That's all it is.
They're louder.
And comedians, we fuck up because we make these nothing stories bigger. If a motherfucker writes a negative article about you, for the love of God, stop sharing it, my nigga. Stop sharing it. I would never share a picture of my mugshot when I'm looking for jobs, you stupid motherfucker. What are you doing? And then, not only will they share it, they'll share the source article. Make these people anonymous. That's how you stop people these days. You make them anonymous. If you steal somebody's meme or some shit and you take their name off of it, they become anonymous. And now all the work they did for the meme means nothing. Take these people that are writing uncouth, hit piece, negative articles about comedy. They're uncouth because sometimes you deserve what's negative about you.
True.
But in the cases where somebody's just being negative for the sake of being negative, stop sharing the link. Screenshot the shit. Screenshot it. Take the black ink and take out the author's name and shit on it on your Facebook post and share it that way. That way, the article itself doesn't get clicks. If it gets clicks, that keeps it up. And how I'm going to tell you to stop doing something that looks like it's working. They're not looking for substance. They're looking for clicks.
Clickbait,
And what I'm talking about here, because I don't want to lose the point, because I think I got off of it a little bit.
You own it. You own it. You right there on it.
I'm talking about the comedians
Negative
that
versus positive.
they get looked over in this time. Because there's so many funny urban comics. And when I say urban, I mean they get up mostly in front of black audiences, right? But there's not a lot of industry going to those shows. Right. You might not see an industry exec go to that show. Right. Why? Because they probably don't know that it's there. And that's what I'm saying. Mm-hmm. So, like here, even in D.C., I don't know what you all are doing because I'm not on the scene, but what's everybody doing to introduce the industry that's here to the young black comedians that are around? Because when people go, oh, we looking for the next Dave Chappelle, that comic is here. He's somewhere, but you have to look for him. Somebody was present to see Dave Chappelle. Somebody was present to see Martin Lawrence. You understand? Bob Sumner was out and he found Bernie Mac and all those guys. We need more. And like I mentioned everything about young black female comedians. The young Hispanic female comedian, we don't know one that was famous on the same level of the Moniques, the S'mores, and so on and so forth. And we need to be better to our legends.
Yeah.
And we also need to open more comedy clubs. There aren't a lot of black-owned comedy clubs anymore, just like there aren't a lot of black agents. When you look at the history, you look at places like All Jokes Aside that used to be around.
Yep.
We need more of that. The Comedy Act Theater and all that stuff.
Yep.
We need more of that. To be on TV and all that type of stuff, we need more of that, but we also need representation because it's so bad to where people...
we need to keep help. It's not just about being in front. It's also about being behind the scenes.
Yes.
It's about creating industry.
We have so many people that start. And we also have to start getting like good at trusting ourselves because it's to the point where if you do see a black agent, there's some of us that think, oh man, well, they ain't gonna have no connections, blah, blah, blah.
Well, and then might just be Bob Sumner.
But maybe. Then on the other side, you have people that are like, oh, well, if they are black, they're only taking social media stars and stuff like that. Yeah. We need more of us to be in these rooms.
That's across the board.
Across the board. And I'm not talking just black, Asian, whatever, but we need more. Because there's so many dope comics out right now.
Each one teach one, the only way to reach one.
Yeah.
That's exactly what the folks did when they went into the Catskills. That's how you get your Milton Burrows. Mm-hmm. Well, not Milton Burrows. This is how you get your... that class that came under Sid Caesar, right?
Yeah.
He took a lot of young Jewish comedians up to the Catskills with him to help write, and then they now went into the industry and pushed that forward.
We
pushed the entire industry forward.
Yeah.
Mel Brooks and those folks pushed the industry into another place and help another voice be heard. This is, and this is what we are continuously doing. It's not just the voice that Pryor put forward or that Cosby put forward.
No, and
it's the voice that Chappelle and Lawrence and that Neko White put forward and that Sean Wayans put forward and the Shells
and
myself.
And the thing about it is that all of those things are necessary. For the love of God, I don't want to hear more comedians be all about issues. You know what I'm saying? I don't want that. People are like, if it ain't highbrow, it ain't good. You need somebody to be as sharp as... Who? Like a Dave Chappelle, right? Yeah. You need to be somebody to be that sharp. You also need somebody to be as silly as a Mike Epps.
Man, Mike Epps is fucking hilarious.
Exactly. And just as good. Just as good as Dave Chappelle. But what I'm saying is they're good different.
Right.
They're two completely different things, but you need both of those things.
Right.
Everybody can't, we need people to be personal. We also need people that ain't talking about shit.
Right.
Because somebody don't want to hear about all this struggle. Oh, yeah, when I was 5, I got beat up by my parents and then curb stomped by my grandmother. Some people don't want to hear that sad shit.
Right.
You know what I mean? Some people want you to just talk about how silly it is that your rent is so high and whatnot.
That's it. The rent is too damn high.
Everything matters and none of it matters, but because it matters to us, that means it's worth something. So,
Look at Neko White.
Little bullshit quote after these.
Look at Neko
7,
White. And that's what it is, ladies and gentlemen who've been listening to this show. Everything means something, and none of it means anything. And that's that's really the ebb and flow of life.
And I ain't drinking no more beers here, I assure you.
And that's the ebb and flow of the craft.
Okay, enjoy your whiskey.
He enjoyed his whiskeys. He also enjoyed that, what was it, the yellow garbage?
The yellow garbage. The dark water.
Shells, what did we have tonight?
We had, in his words or ours?
Our words. Okay. I'll add his words to it.
Okay. The first beer was the Vossen Everything Floats on Key Lime.
That was the yellow.
Garbage.
The second was the Estrella Jalisco.
That was the dark water.
The third was...
Melancholy Hennessy.
Yeah,
the Victory Fest beer.
Victory Fest beer. That's when we started winning.
That's when we started winning. And then the last was the Dogfish Head 120-minute IPA.
Good hard times.
Good hard times.
This show has been a good time. Hopefully you didn't have a hard time.
No. I'm just hearing, after drinking this unsuccessful beer, I can hear shit in my head now, so I'm probably going to get upstairs. I'm hearing the Family Matters theme song way too loud. It's a rare condition this day and age.
On the newspaper page.
Love and condition with dark water. Get
What's
me
your
out of
social
here.
media, Neko? What's your social media? Let the people know where they can find you.
Hey guys, if you'd like to follow me, you can find me on Instagram at Neko White 93. That is at NEKOWHITE93. You can also check out my website, NekoWhite.com. That's NEKOWHITE.com. Follow me and let me know that you heard me on the Comedy Craft podcast. I hope I said that right.
Yep.
Yeah.
Find me on. Let me know that you found me on that, and I will follow you back, and we could talk some more shit about craft beer. Don't talk to me about craft beer. And hopefully you'll check out my podcast. I have a podcast called the Potterhood Podcast. My tour is called the Introduce and Meet Tour, coming to a city near you. And hopefully next time I'm back in DC, I'll be able to touch down at the Comedy Loft and not stay in a haunted house and invite you guys to that show. But in the meantime, in between time, keep supporting this podcast. Thank you all so much for having me and getting me drunk. Now, get me back to my room.
And you should see his watch.
Hey, we don't talk about the watch, man. Trying to get the fucking...
What?
You
Making
should
me
see
wish I
his
ain't got mine
watch.
on.
Do you
Yeah.
know what time it is?
Hey, man.
It's that time, ladies and gentlemen. We actually close our show. My name is Haywood Turnip Seed Jr. Thank you for listening to Comedy Craft. We want to give a quick shout out to Shells.
Hey, I enjoyed you guys tonight.
Hey,
George, you
I'm
want
anticipating the show tomorrow.
Yeah, can't wait.
I
See,
can't wait.
Y'all hearing this in the future. You know what I mean? But we here in the moment.
Yeah.
My
In the
show's
moment.
tomorrow. It should be a fun time if I could wake up without a headache.
quick
Oh,
shout out
man.
to Rel.
Oh shit, I gotta talk. Hey.
Mad Scientist Seth. Hey, Miss Luchtenfeld, who's still in the building.
She gave it that
She
tire
gave that
flip.
whoa. She was like, if y'all don't heard the fuck out, and Shay, Sean, I was
Our
I get a name
photographer
wrong every week.
for our
It's that
podcast,
liquor
Shawnee,
beer.
is here in the building still.
Ah.
Thank everybody for listening. Thank everybody for being here tonight. We want to thank the Comedy Loft for hanging out with us. Seth, what did I miss?
You can catch us every 3rd and 20th.
On Mad Scientist Media.
FM.
CO and FM.
Now somebody
.com.
help save me from this haunted house. They got me staying in this punk ass hotel. This is I can see Harriet Tubman.
This is in
the
December. You
mirror
guys are here
reflection.
Halloween.
Get me out of here. Get me. No, you gotta get me out.
Tonight's episode could not be possible without the amazing team behind the scenes at Mad Scientist Media. Brought to you by the DC Comedy Loft. All beers featured in tonight's shows are available on tap. You can see an entire list of our upcoming performances at dccomedyloft.com. Big thanks. Our guest tonight was Neko White. This show couldn't be possible without our amazing team. Our producers, T. Lee, Shells, Brandon McGee, James Gagan, and Julia Luchtenfeld. Intro and outro music by John Williams. Our executive producer, the mad scientist himself, Seth Weinstein. Our fantastic chief editor, T. Lee. Beer expert and tonight's unbeatable server, Shells. And as always, I'm your host, Haywood Turnipseed Jr. And of course, this show wouldn't be possible without each and every one of you who tuned in with us. If you're listening on Apple Podcasts, make sure to drop us a rating and let us know what you think. You can catch Comedy Craft every month on the 3rd and 20th, whenever you listen to podcasts. That's right, whenever and wherever. Spotify, Stitcher, Apple Podcasts, and Google Podcasts. Want more information on the show? Check out our entire catalog of episodes at comedycraft.msm.fm. Have a question for the show? Send us an email, comedycraft@msm.fm. Once again, for our viewers that make this possible, thank you. You're awesome. Yes, we said viewers to those of you who are listening. Why? Because this has been a production of Mad Scientist Media.